Hello, citizens of YouTube. This is the Geeky Nerd here, and today we're going to be talking about the SAS Tactical adapter plate and how it works for the FNX 45 Tactical and why I got it, and just doing an installation overall. But before I begin, I'd like to send a big thank you out to everyone who's liked, commented, and subscribed on the previous videos. I always appreciate it and always enjoy talking to you guys. But if you're new here to the channel, welcome. And if you enjoy this video, enjoy this type of content, please consider liking, commenting, and or subscribing. With the PR out the way, let's get into it. So, as I said, we're talking about, and big shout out to these guys. So I bought this with my own money, but just found it as a pretty cool product to solve a sort of a unique issue I was having. So it is SAS Tactical, the adapter plate. This one happens to be the RMR2 DeltaPoint Pro. And here's the plate overall. Now, why did I get this? So, love my FNX 45 here, and I originally had it with the Trijicon RMR, but the dual illuminated. So this has a RMR cut, but I wasn't liking how so these sights are very high but very thick, which is nice, so you can get co-witness, but they were interfering with the actual sight picture overall, and this just wasn't getting as bright as I like to. I have other plans for this. I'm probably gonna put it on an AK, something like that, but I wanted something a little bit different, and I came across a screaming deal, which I have a review on it, right? You guys have seen it here, for my EOTech eFlex. Love the window, love design, just general aesthetics of it, and thought it paired very well with the FNX 45. Well, FNX 45 Tactical is only cut for doctor sites or RMR sites. Well, the easy answer would have been get an RMR. Considering I had this though, wanted to make it work, right? So looking at the FNX 45 here, you can see it has a little bit of gunk schmoo there, but it has little pinholes for basically interface with whatever plate. It does come with the RMR and the doctor plates, but wouldn't fit the DeltaPoint Pro footprint. There are plenty of reviews out there, and just kind of talk to you guys about it, is people were taking their DeltaPoints and EOTech eFlexes and things like that, and basically shaving off the front, because when it interfaces with the front lip of here, basically just wouldn't work. Not sure if you can see there. Let's see if I can line it up for you. Kind of demonstrate. So you can see that it just barely wants to line up with the holes, but it just fails to. And one solution that came out there is this Leupold adapter plate, which basically screws through the optic and screws into the plate here. Didn't necessarily want to do that, and just didn't like the design of it. Now this SAS Tactical plate is not perfect, but I think it's as close as you're going to get, right? And so what this plate does is, of course, it interfaces, hold it to the rear, interfaces with the little locking lugs of the RMR, or DeltaPoint, I should say, and it screws through. But you see it is actually threaded through. So by screwing through your DeltaPoint, or EOTech in this case, right, you are basically permanently combining your DeltaPoint EOTech into the plate. And the plate itself actually goes right on here like this. And you can kind of see, if I grab my light again, you see it interfaces with the RMR holes. And with those RMR holes, it has these little flat screws here, which basically just go through, sit flush to the plate, and then you're all hunky-dory. Now, the one thing I wish that this design would incorporate, but is not a deal breaker for me, is some locking lugs, feet, something like that, that interfaces on the bottom here, right? But considering where the plate is, the design, and again, this plate being kind of more universally compatible, not so much of a wide cut, because not every pistol has this wide of a cut, I can understand why that isn't achievable to achieve universal compatibility, right? Because otherwise it'd have to be moved back here, in which case it'd be off with the holes, but rather have it, more far forward, right? But again, the machining tolerances are very nice on this plate. You see there, it pretty much does fit almost flush. It says in the design paperwork that it only fits a maximum cutout depth of, I believe it's 1.8, 1.81, which is actually exactly perfect for this FNX. So without further ado, we're going to mount this up. So first thing, you're going to want to use some blue Loctite, and on the for the EOTech and specifically, it does come again with this mounting hardware, right? And I ordered extras, but the screws are a bit too long for the EOTech, so I'm using the included ones that came with it. So those are actually for mounting to the plate, but let's mount the plate here. So we're going to take some blue Loctite here, just ever so slightly. Loctite, you never need a lot, literally just the tiniest bit. You also want to make sure your threads are cleaned. Is this really necessary? It's a nice little just safety feature, right? So we're just going to line up with the plate here, throw it in, start the threads. I'm going to start it up, get the second one here. Come on. This little tube might be out. There we go. Need a little coercing. Okay, we're going to take the second bit here, start threading that in. One thing, of course, with threads, right, is you always want to hand tighten them because it's very hard unless you're doing something very, very fine to cross thread via hand, right? So you always just want to hand tighten first. Just make sure you don't have any issues there. And we're just gonna take a little Allen key. Actually, this isn't Allen, this is Torx. Same, but different, right? Just gonna funnel that in there. It does say on the instructions, right? So you wanted to go 19 12-inch pounds, 15 20-inch pounds. First, I'm just giving it good snug and tight, and then one slight turn beyond it. So I don't have a torque wrench that goes that low, but the professional way is to do the inch pound, but I'm just going to give it nice and snug, a little bit past it. Okay, you don't got to go too crazy, right? A little bit past it until it really kind of bottoms out and stops. That way you know you're all good. And then we're going to take the plate, mount it on top, throw out as I drop the screws. Come on. Surprised how hard it is to do things on camera when you can't bring it to your face, right? These do already include the little thread lock or Loctite on them. The reason why I couldn't use the included screws with this is because the cutout here is different shape than the DeltaPoint. And it's using the footprint, but it's not the same cutouts. And so what happened is the screws would actually hit the flange, the edge of the armor here, or DeltaPoint. Seems like RMR is kind of becoming interchangeable. What I do is you can either just kind of keep it rested or you can push it slightly forward. Just that way it has some main surfaces. I like to push it as far forward as possible. I'm screwing it in. And one thing about screwing these in is you want to get them both, pretty much snug down, and then start doing your final torque value. You don't want to just ram it home on one because otherwise it could be lopsided. What have you? I should put a little pressure on the center front part of the hood here. Okay. Just getting that good and snug. And then just again a little bit past. You want to be careful though, because these screws, some people do have the tendency of stripping these out. Just go a little bit past. Cool. Snug. And a little bit past. There you go. Again, you could really ream down on these and end up stripping the threads out, stripping, just general anything out, right? So you just want to be kind of cognizant and careful of that. But here you can see it is now, of course, gun is safe, right? So, but you can see here now when we turn on the optic, here is the final product. So plate does sit nice flushed. It does kind of meet up to all the little mating surfaces there. You can see it does have a slight bit of gap, has a bit more gap in the rear, but isn't sitting too high. Is not it is right at the line of that ejection port, but again your round should be kind of sconning to the side of it, and I will do another review after shooting it to say how it goes. Again, does sit a bit proud, but nothing too crazy, isn't really coming off the edges like that, but I think looks fairly clean. And of course the sight picture here, so it's definitely not lower 1/3 but just the ever so slight tip wings of the sight, you can line it up. So it definitely is not a backup sight, but you could get some just general competent accuracy with just how it's ever so slightly cresting the top of that, right? but I really like how it is not interfacing with the optics as much, or uh, the sights as much anymore. It is really not cloud in the window, and you can see there it is lining up nice and perfect. So that is the again, calling them out, the SAS Tactical adapter plate, and how it interfaces with a FNX 45, and also how to install it, and just an general overview. So I'll let you guys know how this works. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, and or subscribing. And hope everyone's having a wonderful, awesome, fantastic day. And I'll catch you guys next time. See you guys.